Hello my crafty friends, it's Krista here from Second Chance Creation. I have another project share, a little bit of nighttime crafting and also daytime crafting. I had a bit of time off from the garden. My back got a bit sore, so I was able to finish this journal off. And there's a bit of a story behind it, so bear with me. It's probably been well over 12 months ago. I was watching a video presented by Wendy Mason. I'm going to leave Wendy's link below because it's all her fault that I've started this book, and Sonia Steptoe. So I'll be putting Sonia's channel link below as well in the description box. And I can't remember the actual of how it eventuated, but it might have been a bad hairdo or something. I can't remember, but anyway, and I commented on Wendy's channel and said, oh well, it's a fancy Nancy hairdo, something like that. And Sonia Steptoe commented in regard to, oh, I've got some fancy Nancy like cards, project cards, something like this. And I'm thinking, oh, there is such a thing as fancy Nancy. And so I googled it, and yes, there is a children's character by the name of Fancy Nancy. So Sonia sent me these couple of cards of Fancy Nancy in some Happy Mail or a prize pack that I won. I can't remember that either, I'm sorry. And when I received them, I thought, oh, it looks a bit like I used to follow in my younger days, Pippi Longstocking. I don't know if you know that fairy tale character here in Australia. And so I was quite smitten by her. So when I seen Fancy Nancy, very similar, very colourful, very quirky, very fun. And I thought, oh, I could make a journal out of this. But I need more than just 2 journal cards. So I kept my eye out, and of course I went to the local op shop, and there was a magazine for 20 cents with Fancy Nancy. And here she is. Isn't she just so quirky and colourful and lots of fun? So I was able then to put it in an envelope, because I keep these plastic envelopes. I get them from op shops for 10 cents. And I put all my bits in it that I want to make a journal with. So then I found a book, and I liked the cover, and I gutted it. And I'll show you in the next video what I do with the books that I gut, because you've got so many pages. And I have a lot of books too now. But I've come up with this great idea. But that's in my next video. So anyway, so it was a started project, so now I'm finishing all my started projects. So this is one of them. So that's the story behind Fancy Nancy. So let's just get stuck into it without further ado. Now also I watched Wendy Mason do a different way of binding the book and putting in the signatures, and I'll share that with you as well. And I was quite taken by it, because when she posted the photo on the Junk Journal Junksters Down Under Facebook group, I really liked the look of it. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. So, we were all sort of waiting for her to put up some sort of a tutorial. And of course, she had got this idea from a Netherlands lady, crafter lady. And of course, there's no English version, so Wendy did a really good job in interpreting it and in her way. And of course, I just had to make a book putting in the signature this way, and I absolutely love it. So I've made her unique is fancy. So she is very unique, isn't she? Very colourful. I used some diamond dots that have been gifted to me because they were leftovers, and to highlight the dress, and some sparkles on Fancy Nancy's glasses. If I hold it like this, you can see them. So I've popped in behind, I've popped in some doilies, and some glitter mesh because she's all about sparkle. I backed her on one of my painty papers, and I've popped in a little bit of doily on there and some bling. And I've had this fabric, and I used that as a tie, and I actually used it to cover the spine, which I really didn't have to because you don't sew into the spine, but I just wanted to make it really, really colourful. Now also I've got dangles here, and they are some of my crochet dangles, a necklace, because as you can see, Fancy Nancy wears a lot of necklaces, a little ribbon because she has lots of ribbon in her hair, and also I found this little key. It was on a keychain, and it had a character of Frozen, the Disney character Frozen, and I thought I might keep this. One day I can make a little journal or use it for something. Well, the day has come, so what I've done is I've just cut a little picture out that you get in the back of the book. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. Just these little pictures here, and it was just the perfect size, so I've cut that out and put that in as the cover of this little book. And it was on a keychain, and I couldn't, I was going to put a little sparkly on this, but I don't have that glue, that E6000, so I decided not to. But it's all got blank pages, and look, you can even, change it and put a new one in there if you need to. But yeah, so that's how it came. So I just took that Frozen picture out and put Fancy Nancy in there and attached it. This all can come undone because I've put a bulb pin attached with a bulb pin, and it is through an eyelet. I've popped an eyelet in there just to make sure it's nice and strong. And on the back it's just plain, and the tie continues, and I've just put on a beautiful little daisy trim. I did put some book corners on here as well to make it nice and sturdy. So let's go in and have a sticky beak. Tie is very simple, and I've knotted it through these little dangle things that I've beaded things that I've. It's all part of it, a necklace and jewelry. So here we go. So there's nothing new in this book. This book is, I love the cover of this because it's a beautiful, beautiful linen, the old linen, and it's a bit used, but it's not battered. So it's still in pretty good nick, but I just love the feel of it. So, and I thought that just lent itself to this journal. So let's open her up, and you'll see what I've done with the spine. And I'm not sure can't remember what you call it, but I'm going to leave Wendy's link in the description box of the tutorial that she did. It was quite amazing. For me to explain to you, it's going to take forever and ever, as this was my first one, and I really, really enjoyed it. The inside that I covered to strengthen it, you're not going to believe it, it's actually, I purchased this Coles bag last year only for the sake of using it as a journal cover one day. So I've still got a journal cover left, and I was going to put in a tuck spot because this is the base, and I thought, if I was to sew that in, you can have a tuck spot here, tuck spot there, tuck spot there, and tuck spot there. But of course, once I've put the pages in, I forgot to sew it in. I thought, oh well, it's got enough because it's come up quite thick. So as you can see, I have 10 pages in each signature. I have 4 signatures. So you're looking at 40, 80, 160 side and back. Plus you've got your envelopes and tags and journal cards. I've used some of the journal cards that I've had in my stash. They're just plain, but it just makes it, it just goes with this journal. So as you can see, it lays really flat. Now I have got the dangle here, but that's okay, and it still lays nice and flat. It's just how it's bound. It has a little bit of movement, and I think I think every journal does that, but it's mainly because maybe I didn't tighten this. and I didn't want to over tighten it because it is quite heavy and quite thick, so I overdone it, Wendy. So I've popped in some painty papers. I was quite, I went ahead and done all this, and then when I watched Wendy's video, I'm thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done that, used my painty papers, but that's all right because it had printed matter on the other side. And I've left like a business card pocket in here because that'll pop in my card in here. This can be used as a tuck spot. And this flap would have, you can keep this loose. I've decorated with this trim, but I actually chose to attach it to the first page, and the page was a bit longer than usual, so I folded it over and made it into a tuck spot. I've had these little cards as well, all from the op shop. I thought, oh, that's quite colourful and quirky. And of course, I fussy cut out the photos of, you know, Nancy. And there is no inking and there's no stamping in this journal. I just wanted to leave it as it is. This is backed onto one of my painty papers. And this actually, as you can see, this is like a stain run. It was an accident because when I had my pages on the table and I used baby wipes, I just plonked it on the side, not knowing that it was on the paper. And of course the alcohol just made that run and stain, but the effect was quite amazing. I really liked it. So yes, I've used that there. And I had I've got quite a bit of cardstock that I found, and I've kept it that colour, kept it white. So no inking and no stamping throughout. So as you can see, this journal stays really flat, so which is ideal to, you know, to write on. I've used some little corner flip outs. This was in a magazine page for crafting, and I thought, how cool was that? I used this stationery that I found. It was 50 cents for a box, and I've when I was sorry, it was a folder, and I've actually took the folder apart as well for my next journal, because you can keep these pockets and attach them to a page. So I've still got a fair few, maybe for another one. So yes, so there's lots of writing spaces in here. Here I've used one of my painty papers, and I've just done some fussy cutting from the Fancy Nancy magazine, so you can journal behind it. And I've just attached this embossed fabric that was gifted to me with a whole box of goodies. So yeah, I just thought I really like that. And cut out various words from the book. Being spectacular, that's a fancy word for great. This strip here has come also from a stationery folder, and I kept it because I wanted to use it in a boho journal. But you know how things just change, so I've used it in here because it's just such a colourful little character. A bit more fussy cutting. Here I've got one of those envelopes, and I do believe Wendy Mason does a tutorial on that as well, but I think a lot of people make these. And I've just used it and made it look like a little puppy bed, doggy bed. Hello world. Or you can it's just a journal card that I've had. Fabric, butterfly fabric. Another fussy cut. Now this one is from Sonia Steptoe. Thank you, Sonia, because you started me off as well. And that's one of the cards. So she gifted me 2 of these, and that's what took my interest. In the center of this signature, of each signature, I've used a full page of the storybook, so that, because it's just so colourful. Happiest moment, and I've made that into a upper tuck just here. Another more, and this is some of my painted papers. This is with a the cotton, the fabric dyes that you buy in a bottle to do tie dyes. I've used that on there. Then I had a old book, and I couldn't use the pages, but I loved the pictures, and it was like an old melody music book, but it was only in A4 size, and it had some songs in it, and each one had a quirky little girl. I thought that would suit this journal quite well. Here's a little paper clip just with the different, I'll just see if I can move this over a bit. Paper clip is just all the different papers that I had here. And then on the back I've made this little paper clip. It's supposed to represent a little handbag. I forgot, I've got to put a little bit of bling on there, but you just open it up and you can journal on that as well. An envelope, there's nothing in this one. Here this is a Bonbury bag. It was white with gold specks on it, and I painted that a while ago with a lot of my other stuff. On the bottom bit of the fabric, and I fussy cut it fancy, and I've made a big tag. Oh, I think this is just a really real fun journal. I sewed around the tags. Like I said, I didn't ink them around the edges or anything like that. Some more of that lovely paper on the back. Here is the back of the Coles bag that I kept the size of a page. And I wanted to make sure that you could use it, so I've attached this. This was gifted to me. It's probably a die cut of some sort, and I just put a scrappy cluster on there. Used one of my vintage buttons just there. Just bring it up and show you. Just there. You see that? I'm in a very awkward space today. Just there. So yeah, it looks really cool. And that's the end of the signature. And see how it separates and it lies flat? How cool is that? And I reckon maybe because I used a bit of a thicker twine, because you need to use a very strong piece of, not twine, like a ribbon or braid. But, you know, I'm happy with it. It's colourful. And some more of my painted papers. This is actually drawer lining paper. Envelope. Here's another one of those quirky little pictures. Some more of the butterfly envelope. And this is just, I've made this just lying around, so I thought I might as well attach it and can be used. Another bit of fussy cutting. This comes to the middle of this next signature, and I've just covered this with a bit of fabric, nice bit of fabric I had. And sorry ladies, and I've made a little journal card, better than fancy. So yeah, so as you can see, they're very colourful pages. I had my, for my painted papers that I cut down, because this journal is a bit narrower than normal. The strips, well, I kept them and I just edged them on those pages there. You know, plenty of room to put on photos and things like that. So, but lots of writing space. Another one of those quirky little pictures. A bit of fussy cutting. More of the painted papers. Just love how that turned out. That's out of the magazine as well, Hello World. And this was gifted to me, this page. Someone was quite creative. I thought, how cool was that? Bit more of the drawer lining paper. Actually, I always look out for these, because they're big sheets. Sometimes you get, you know, 5 or 6 sheets. Someone might have used it and didn't like the smell of it. This doesn't have a smell anymore. It's more, it was a little like a gardenia smell. Here I've made a bookmark out of wallpaper and had the little polka dots. And I just wanted something light. I didn't want a paper clip, but I thought if I make something that you can see from above, you know there's a bookmark there. It had a little tear, this paper, so I just bandaged it up with a bit of fabric just there. This is a little polka dot, it's a little bag, gift bag. And what I've done here is I've made this little scrappy little journal to go in there. Look at the photo, one of a kind. Look, she's reading it. So yeah, so there's just all sorts of stuff in here, just blank pages, some book page. I photocopied a doily and that's what it's come out at. So yeah, and that's just to scribble on or make notes in. So that just goes back in here. Another little corner flip up, as long as it's not stuck together. No. Large journal card. I didn't decorate it. Sometimes, you know, they're handy just to have nice and flat. This was in a Happy Mail pack. It's obviously a die cut, and I thought, how cool was that? This is a fussy cut at one of those little black and white pictures. And then also I cut out the wardrobe that was in the magazine, Fancy Nancy's wardrobe. And who should be behind it? Fancy Nancy, all dressed up. Oh dear. Yeah, so this was like an invoice. So what I've done is I've just popped that on there. It has no names or anything, but yeah, I just sort of wanted to cover that a little bit. It's irrelevant really, it doesn't make any difference. So as you can see here, I've made a little tuck spot. Oh, she's got a headache. Okay, she's hiding. It's the other side of that painted paper. And this is a tuck spot, and I've made a little tag, also from the magazine. You know what? Easy. Sometimes when we think things are really, really hard, and when we make them, they're really, really easy, like this technique of putting in signatures. So the last signature also has heavy-duty cardstock, because the first one and the last one have to have it, because that's where your straps go, as Wendy calls them. And I chose not to put anything, a page to it. I left it because it had that purple colour. And look, I've had this cardstock about 2.5 years ago when I had a dabble in paper. I bought a cheap pad, 12 by 12. And I still have it. So, you know, that's how much I use it. Well, I'm using it up now. Another one of those quirky little pictures. Here I've made a little pocket from the Coles bag, and I popped in a little tag, and I popped the little B button on there. Oh, sorry ladies, giving you a headache here. I've got a little B. Isn't that cool? See, and this journal still lays flat. That's what I like about it. Some music paper. I think I'm getting pretty well over my time. Here's the other signature. Here's another one of those fancy envelopes. Yes, be happy, and one of a kind. She is one of a kind, Fancy Nancy, and she always seems to be happy. Here I've put just a little journal card in there. This is a belly band, just here. Here's the edging of one of the trims. Give a dog a bone. I just had to put that in there because I know Fancy Nancy has a little dog called Frenchie. And then just a little pocket. And that's the end. And then on the back she's got, you know what? Maybe that's even better than fancy. Posh. So let me know what you think of this journal. I absolutely love how this binding, how the signatures are sewn in. It's taken me probably nearly all day because I've made like 3 boo-boos. The first one was I forgot to take the template out, Wendy. So started sewing up, and I realised the template was still in there for the holes. So then, of course, I had to undo the stitching. And then the second time I realised I had one signature upside down, so off it comes. And the third time I thought, oh, what's that thread doing there? The thread doing there. So I cut it off, and it was the the beginning of the signature, and I accidentally cut that off. So yeah, so it took me, you know, the fourth go was pretty good. So there you go. So let me know of your thoughts. I really enjoyed making this journal. I'll be putting that on my Facebook page, Second Chance Creation. It'll be for sale. So, and thank you for the inspiration, Sonia and Wendy. And the next video, I'll share with you what I do with my gutted books, the insides of it. Okay, ladies, until next time, bye for now.